What's happening, guys? It's Mike at Mike's Little Dragon Channel, and earlier today I read Gwenpool #1, and this is my first time reading anything that had Gwenpool in it or starred her, and really my first exposure to the character. And I quite enjoyed this book. It is very tongue-in-cheek, very self-referential, very meta commentary, that whole type of deal, about comic books, about comic book trends and the characters and etc. So I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I know that there was a lot of hubbub, a lot of internet outrage, quotation marks, about the resurrection of Gwen Stacy and her coming back as basically this sort of Weapon X style killer. And so many people were up in arms. So many people were saying that this type of move was disrespectful, that they couldn't believe Marvel was bringing Gwen Stacy back. There's nothing sacred no more, yada, yada, yada. And I didn't really get all of the outrage. To me, I did not really see what was so wrong about the resurrection of a character who has been dead for 50 years and who has not shown up in any comic. A character who is 65 years old or 60 years old or whatever it is and has been dead for 50 of those. To me, I didn't see the big deal about it. With that being said, I also was, although I had never read any Gwenpool comic books, I knew that she was basically a comedy character, someone who was, did a lot of fourth wall breaking, and I didn't think that they were going to legit bring back Gwen Stacy in the pages of a Gwenpool comic book. I thought that if they did, it was going to be some sort of commentary on grim and gritty characters, and some sort of look about reboots. So with the way I looked at it, I thought I was like, that to me even more makes it seem like it's very reasonable to bring her back. So I picked this issue up, because of all the news about her coming back. And it opens up with basically some sort of training sequence. These guys are mercenaries or security guards or something like that. And they're taken apart. They're killed by whoever is stalking them and hunting them. One of the guys gets his head cut off. He gets his head cut off right here. Target has a healing factor. So just from these couple pages, we see that is the Gwen Stacy Weapon X style character. Then we see this character who's operating here in the shadows sends Gwen Stacy Weapon X or whatever on this mission. Then we get our credits page. This gentleman, or this, I'm not sure if this is, this name here is very unfamiliar with me. Both this creative team in general is very unfamiliar with me, is what I'm getting at. So I didn't really know what to expect, but they seem to have a feel for the character. We opened up. The giant alien dragon, Fing Fang Foom, has Spider-Man, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, and Jeff. It's got them pinned up. Gwenpool arrives on the scene, and automatically she starts with the fourth wall breaking. This little balloon here tells us that says Everyone's favorite girl who fell into a Marvel comic and now has fabulous narrative busting superpowers, even though she's probably just a mutant who can warp reality. So maybe she's not a person from the Earth that fell into the Marvel universe and just a mutant that has reality warping powers. But anyway, she rushes off to save Hawkeye and Spider-Man and Jeff and promptly gets stepped on. But she's not there on the bottom of Fin Fang Foom's foot. And we see Spider-Man having massive attacks of his spider sense. Fin Fang Foom is gloating about his victory. He hears a voice. Gwenpool has grown to humongous sizes, dwarfs the dragon, and she explains it as what she did was she hid in between the panels, and then when she exited the panels, she used the artistic perspective of the guy who's drawing the book to make her way, way, way much bigger than Fin Fang Foom. She punts him like a football, and then she hops out of the page here and then meets up with the rest of the characters. For some reason, Jeff runs off afraid, which is a complete 180 from what we saw when she first showed up. Spider-Man is still experiencing tremendous amounts of pain with his spider sense. He says here the danger hasn't passed, it's only getting worse. It starts raining. Kate Bishop breaks up a fight here. And everything is just looking, everything's looking really bad. Gwenpool is battling these two Deathlock type characters. And then she says here, she tells Kate Bishop, she says to her, Tweedledee and Tweedle Deathlock came out of nowhere after everything went a bit Frank Miller. A bit what now? You must have noticed the tone, the level of violence. So Gwenpool has noticed that somehow or another there has been some sort of reality shift. Kate Bishop, her, and Spider-Man appear to somehow or another have been teleported, or somehow they are in a different dimension right now, one that is very grim and gritty, so to speak. Spider-Man shows up back on the scene. He gets shot in the shoulder. And then these guys are having conversation here, and this is where I think the premise of the book starts to manifest itself. You still don't get it, do you? The age of heroes has passed. The great reboot has begun, and with it, you must die. So then we see these guys get shot out of nowhere. This is the Gwen Stacy assassin. Gwenpool makes a couple of quips here. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. I get it. Spider Sense gone nuts because of some clearance rack cosplayer. Gwen Stacy takes control of her, or knocks her out, so to speak. Spider-Man webs her mask off, and then we start to see, like I said, these are more clues to what I think the book is going to be. Gwenpool talking. Yeah, unmask that phony Spider-Man. Please don't be me from the future. Please don't be. Please, 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 please. And so then she makes another observation here. Let me guess. Something is stupid. Even the 90s would be embarrassed. Gwen Forcer, crash grab, or cash grab. And she tells her, no, I'm Gwen Stacy. And Gwenpool says, wait, what? I'm sorry, what now? But I think the clues that are given here show us what the direction the book is going to be headed in. For people that think this was going to be a book in which Gwen Stacy is brought back to life and is in the Spider-Man book hanging out from now on. I think they really jumped the gun and made, I like to say, it made a whole much ado about nothing. So in any case, Gwenpool #1, I believe it's a 5-issue miniseries. I'll be reading it. It was kind of a fun story. Like I said, a lot of wink, wink, nod, nods, fourth wall breaking, the type of stuff you see in a Deadpool book. So if you're someone who likes Deadpool and all his fourth wall breaking or that type of humor, then this will be the book for you. I think it's going to be just one of those books that, like I said before, it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek look at the industry and comic book trends. So Gwenpool #1 came out this week. Next time you're at your shop, check it out, give it a look, and if it's something you like, tell the owner of your local comic book shop to add it to your pull list. So till next time, talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.